I'm going to talk about an energy efficiency measure. So I'm not switching gears entirely because I have this one obsession, which is energy efficiency and how much money it will save. But in this case, I want to talk about saving comfort, saving air conditioning, saving the world because it delays global warming, and I think I'll say it now. I'm going to talk about white roofs. White roofs don't deteriorate as fast as black roofs. So apart from their well-known virtues, they also last twice as long, which means instead of sending your roof to the city dump every 10 years, you do it about every 20 years. And so actually that saves quite a lot of recycling. So that's my only small addition. Now, let me talk about the well-known virtues of white roofs and then get onto the lesser-known news. As long as there have been buildings in hot cities and civilization started where it was hot, people have observed that whitewashing the roof, be it an Egyptian temple or be it the Pharaoh's palace, makes the place cooler. The Greeks, of course, adopted this architecture for thousands of years. So that's houses. That doesn't take much brains. As long as we've had large cities, people have observed that downtown is hotter than the suburbs. Now that's not entirely white roofs, it's also that cities tend to have less trees, less evapotranspiration. And recently we've gone in for asphalt roads because asphalt is a cheap, impermeable surface and a byproduct of refineries. But anyway, it would be nicer and cities would be cooler if they were concrete-colored roads. Not white, because they'd get dirty so fast and they'd be glary, but concrete-colored. And so that may make city planners pay more attention to the life cycle cost of a road. Concrete is stronger, lasts longer. Roads last 20 years instead of 10 years too. And up till now, that tends to be ignored, but it's a desirable thing to do. The question then is, what about global warming? Well, let me stop first and say the global warming is a freebie. I'm not selling the economics of global warming because there is no price for global warming. There's a price for CO2, which is the feedstock of global warming, but there's no price for global warming, so I'm going to quote things in terms of CO2. But the actual fact of the matter is that the whiter the world as seen by the sun, the more sunlight is reflected back through the transparent atmosphere and leaves the world and doesn't heat it. So the real scare in global warming is that the glaciers are already melting. They're white, and they leave exposed rock, which is not white, and gets hotter under the sun. The Arctic ice cap is thinning out, and if it melts, instead of the sun seeing in the summer, seeing a large splotch of white, it will see a large splotch of ocean, which absorbs all the heat that is incident upon it. So that's the reason, the main reason why scientists are so agreed that it's very dangerous to have global warming over about 2 degrees centigrade because of all this melting whiteness. So anything we can do to make the world whiter, to replace some of that loss, is a reprieve. Not a solution, oh well, a 5% solution, but is a reprieve on global warming. I think I'll go into this a little bit further. For a long time, scientists have wondered about how big an effect it is. This idea can only be sold white roofs and cooler pavements, but particularly white roofs. From now on, I'm going to talk about the no-brainer of white roofs. They cost nothing. When you're going to order a roof on a new building or major retrofit, you might as well order it in white. It's the cheapest color to order. Cities are now 2% of land area. They're 50% of the world's population. And so, if you think about 2% of the world's land area, it's a little larger than the state of California. So it's not an insignificant area available for whitening. In California, where I have a little bit of influence, the California Energy Commission on Building Standards has required since 2005 that if a roof is flat, so there's no architectural issue and no fighting with homeowners associations and so on, that new roofs or major retrofits shall be white. So California commercial space is going white about 5% a year. And you will notice that nobody has complained about it. A few roofers of black tar roofs have probably moved to Texas, but that's what they deserve. And it all works fine. So I've got 2 minutes to make this argument. If we can get a worldwide campaign, and Steve Chu, the Secretary of Energy, luckily is 10 times as noisy as I am on this worldwide campaign, and has 10 times the audience, so that makes a factor of 100. As an ally, that's pretty good. To get white roofs introduced in all cities in the tropics and the temperate zones where the summers are hot and therefore it will be more comfortable to have white roofs and cool the city. It turns out that if you talk about cooling in terms of equivalent carbon dioxide emissions removed, then every 1,000 square feet of white roof offsets the heating effect of the emissions of 10 tons of CO2, which is about 2 years' emissions of the family car. And if you carry this worldwide, because there are a lot of billions of flat roofs available to be white, not only do you make the building underneath it more comfortable, that's point number one, not only do you make your city cooler, that's point number two, but you offset the heating effect of 25 billion tons of CO2 over the life of the roof, which is about 20 years. That's equivalent to over 1 billion tons of CO2 offset per year. That's equivalent to stopping the emissions of 2/3 of the cars in the world for 20 years, all for free. So you can see why Steve Chu and I are excited about this. The legislation will, or the rules for California will require this of all flat roofs, including residential, starting in 2012. The model code units, which are adopted by the other states not so promptly, will also come out with this recommendation in 2012. So we're on our way in the United States. The problem is to get the rest of the world signed up. That's what I'm working on these days, and I'll be happy to talk about it more during the break. And thank you very much.